We're streaming. Oh, look at old blue hair. Oh, look at us. Put the. I meant to have the names match where we're sitting. All right, let's flip. I did. See, I have your name here. I did. Yep. That was a mess up. Or that's very OCD of me. Okay. What's up, everybody? Thank you guys for tuning in. This is the part of a live stream where we don't jump into the show just yet, and because we want you guys to share this. Please share this to your Facebook walls. It's super important. I mean, it's not that important, but it will make me happy. We just had we had dinner. We had delicious dinner. It was a rushed dinner.
Okay.
But we're here. We're doing this. It's been a month since I have done one of these things. Yeah, it's been too long. We have a very special guest coming in shortly, but before we bring her in here with us, we wanted to say hey. And a lot of you that are watching this, I've shared this to some of my personal pages and to the pages of Spasmodic Dysphonia. So some of you might not know what this is, whether you do have SD or not, but my name is Shane Hartline, and I am an actor that since the age of 5 or 6, I have had a extremely rare neurological condition called spasmodic dysphonia. It's something my whole life I didn't want anybody to know about, and the fact that I'm doing a live stream talking about it, it's freaking me out to this day right now. Still, yeah. I mean, for my whole life, I kind of spent not wanting, to anybody to know it about me, for many reasons and whatnot. But a year ago, I kind of opened up. I told my story, and then I created a film about it, and yeah, now I'm using this platform, SD Sidekick, to kind of give back to my community of people with SD and raise awareness and continue raising awareness past Cookie. But yeah, and if you want to be involved with the show, it's actually live. It's actually happening right now live. It was invented yesterday, and it's blowing my mind still. Live stream technology. No, I actually did. Did you know that
You've done a lot.
I've done a live stream before it was a thing. I was live streaming before it was a thing. I used to do a weekly comedy webcast from I had a whole bedroom in my apartment that I turned into like a studio back in from 2007 to 2010. We did it weekly. It was really cool, but it was before live streaming was like everybody. No, we didn't. It was a good thing. We probably didn't know each other at the time. We met when we were supposed to meet. Yes. I like to say. But if you want to be involved with the show, we ask you to do two things. Share this to your Facebook pages and groups and whatever. And leave a comment, because your comments can get featured on the screen. How does does this keep changing? Oh wait, no, that's right now. You're here.
Yeah.
Okay, I keep seeing the name. I don't know if I don't know if I'm dyslexic tonight. But I keep seeing the names on the screen backwards. Oh, Lord, have mercy. But if you want to be involved with this, leave a question on the screen for me, for Gabby, or our guest. And here she is.
Hey! It worked. Oh.
Wait for it. Wait. And say something.
Hello?
There we go. I can hear you. I think everybody else can hear you, but I had it set on our ends funky. Hey, how are you? Introduce.
Hi, my name is Aenya Ulke.
Thanks for being here. We met a couple months ago. Didn't we meet? I know, since we've had a lot has happened, but we met first. We met on the Spasmodic Dysphonia group, didn't we?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. And then I was like, yeah, this girl's an actress, and she's in Los Angeles, and she's someone young with SD. So I was like, I have to meet her. And then we met at a little coffee tea place.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That cute little coffee shop.
Yeah. But how are you? First of all, how are you?
I'm okay.
Yeah.
I'm hanging in there. It seems like there's something new that's stressful every single day. So I'm just like trying to take it one day at a time and take care of myself.
We planned to do this like I think 2 or 3 weeks ago.
I think it was like 3 weeks.
We kind of like connected and we were like, it just didn't feel right to kind of talk about, not I mean, I guess to be blunt, talk about these other problems that aren't, the problems that we should be talking about right now. But that now, even though we are doing this right now, does not mean that those aren't still things that are very important and that we should always be important moving forward. But yeah, so it's funny, like I was making this website before we met, and then when I met with you and I wanted to just give you because I've had all of this like experience with SD and I've tried all these things and things work and other things don't, but it's funny, I just wanted to throw so much at you, and I feel like I probably overwhelmed you when I sent you that first email, but that's really what I want this like site to become, is just kind of a resource for people with SD, to just go to and, oh, there's our vitamins that people are trying, and these are books that people are reading. But backtrack a bit. When you've told me all this, you've told Gabby and I all this. When did you get SD, and how do you think it happened?
Well, the funny thing is, like, I've always had issues with my singing voice. Like, I've always been acting and singing pretty much my entire life. And when I was in like musicals and stuff, like my voice would just like give out really easily, and like I would get sore throats like all the time. So I'm not sure if that was like the start of it, or if it was like a muscle tension type of thing back then. But I actually noticed a difference in my speaking voice like senior year of college. And I'm trying to like think about exactly when I noticed it, because it's kind of fuzzy. But I also had a really bad case of strep like right before senior year. Like I was pretty sick for like a week and a half, and it was just like the worst sore throat I'd ever had, and I'd had strep before that. So I don't know if that played into it, or like I have no idea.
That's for people that are watching that don't know anything about this condition, it's probably one of the most frustrating parts about it, because you get it, and usually when we get something we know why, and it's almost like this thing happens to us, and that's already frustrating, but on top of it, it's even more frustrating because we really don't have a concrete reason why we do have it. Yeah, I don't know, even for myself, the reason it did happen. I didn't go through any traumatic incidents. There are things that did happen when I was younger, like not anything like bad, nobody did anything to me, but like, I was, like, traumatic. I went through traumatic experiences where I was in the same room with a family member that had a stroke, and so it's like you like look for things to almost like that may have been the reason, but I don't know for sure, and that's that's super frustrating. And again, what age did you say you got it again? 18?
22.
22. Okay, got it.
Yeah. Like I was turning 22.
College, that's right. So and so it's funny, we made a short film a year ago about someone wanting to be an actress with SD, searched with all our might, and
we met her a year
and then
later.
we met her.
I know.
Not to say that like you would have booked it, because we know how this business is.
Yeah.
Like, we would have made you audition, we would have put you through the ringer, but that was what was really hard, is like we looked and looked and looked, and we couldn't find, because it was the most important thing to us when making that movie, the first movie about somebody with this condition. We did want to try to find an actress with SD. We found many people that with SD that wanted to act, but it's like you can't go out on the street and ask somebody to perform brain surgery.
Right.
this is a profession that, you know, people spend a lot of time, you know, studying and learning how to do. So, but with that being said, you know, it is a big long-term goal to make a feature. So, you know, when that time comes, I'd say you're at the top of the list of casting. But
That sounds great.
but how I know for myself, the hardest part of having this and wanting to be an actor has always been mental. It's been the the fear of, one, what opportunities is it holding me back from? Two, getting to set and then, hey, we need you to say this exactly this way. Because to be completely transparent, it hasn't happened a lot for me. I have gotten to a place where it is a very mild case at this point, but it has happened in the past when it was more severe. Not often. Most sets I've worked on are really cool people, but I have dealt with some people that are just like, what the hell? You know, what is going on with you? Are you sick?
Yeah.
And I should have been, hey, MFer, you casted me. You heard my voice. This is my voice. This is how I tell my story. And that's, you know, a hard place for me to get to. And I'm pretty close. By no means am I there yet. But what for you? I mean, it's a heavy question, but you you're you're not going to give up on your dream. Like, that's not going to happen.
It's not an option.
It isn't. But what has been kind of the transition? You know, what has been the difficulties of transitioning into this new you for the time being?
I guess the hardest part is like not knowing exactly what makes my voice better or what makes it worse. Because I've been just trying different things, and it's been tough with the pandemic because I couldn't go to acupuncture. I like just started going back last week, so I'm gonna try to go like once a week and keep up like CBT and GABA and like all this stuff. But it's definitely frustrating because like some days my voice will be really great and I'm like really happy and like feeling really confident, and then other days I'll just wake up and it's like super tight. And like I can feel the tightness and just like spasms all the time, and it's just frustrating because I'm the type of person that wants to fix it.
She knows. Yeah, she knows. Like, living with me, that's also on top of it, a super frustrating thing that many people with it can relate to. You wake up and you have like good days and bad days. I've had literal days. Like, I had a day like 2 days ago. I didn't even mention this, that the whole day my voice was perfect. Absolutely perfect. Didn't have a single incident. And then when you're somebody that deals with, you know, like a condition that you can't control. Like, it's not that like we, you know, hurt our knees, so we know that, you know, if I do these physical therapy exercises, it will improve. This is a condition that there is no ABC for recovery. It's like, well, the way I've always described it is we're just throwing a bunch of like paint against a wall, and just seeing what sticks. And you know, so I have like good days and bad days, and it's always like you're searching for, when you're having those good days, it's like, oh, okay, maybe it was this vitamin, or maybe it was this thing. Or, you know, lately this week I've started, there's all these like, you know, Jim Bostock in Australia is doing this amazing vocal freedom program, and then there's the Dr. Joaquin Farias is doing a dystonia program. So I'm starting to like split my time every day from just focusing totally on creative stuff and outside stuff, and splitting it with like working on myself too, and trying to meditate more. But yeah, man, good days and bad days. And I think the most frustrating part is just not knowing why, you know, what triggers either. What do you think? Have you found anything yet? I mean,
that
it's like,
is
I'm having a bad day, I think it's because of this.
Definitely stress. Like if I'm anxious or worried about anything, that's like the main thing. That
there was no quiet way to do that.
So I think that's the number one thing, is just stress. Like I got into a really minor car accident last year, and that was like the first day that I literally couldn't talk at all. And so I was like, okay, well, stress affects this. But at that point, I didn't even know that it was spasmodic dysphonia. I just thought like I was having voice issues and it was stress related.
Yeah, and that's the thing that's tough too, is like, I've seen a lot of people that are, trying to help people with SD, and they're like, you've got to get your stress under control. Well, I'm sorry, this is the real world.
I
Like,
know.
shit happens, and we, can't control things that pop up. We just have to, as much as we can, I guess, figure out the concoction of things that help us. I am constantly testing new vitamins and new, you know, breathing techniques. And this week, like I said, I'm starting these new like programs, but it's, I don't know, it's constant just experimentation. I feel like a lab rat sometimes.
Me too.
But we really are, this condition was discovered, I think, in the 70s. So one, it's still so new, I'm nothing against people that are using Botox, you know, I'm all for, if something helps you, it is your life. You do what you want. I'm personally against it. I've had some really bad experiences with it. But it's like, that's it. It's like, oh, this thing kind of helps. So it's like, that's the thing that we're going to push on people. So it's still in such infant stages that we are kind of test dummies. And I think that there are a lot of things they're developing, and that that look promising. There's some like, and I'm going to sound dumb when trying to describe this, but there's some kind of like vibrating technology.
Oh yeah.
Have you seen that? That's like and helps people. But yeah, there's a lot of things that are currently in development that are promising. I always get really hopeful when I see things like this. Yeah, so moving forward, I mean, I don't know. It's hard to say. It's like, I know this can be said about you too. I think this is the first time, as on the side, we're right now not talking about SD, but as actors, I think this is the first time for us that in 10 years, for me, legit, I haven't, a long span of time, I haven't thought about like, oh, I don't have the stress of like worrying about an audition, or like I can kind of, take long periods of time to like kind of shut my brain off of those kinds of things, or like stressful things.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, like you would relate to, like, I think that like, this is like, as an actor, I mean, there's all these kinds of things that are popping up of, workshops and virtual classes and all kinds of things. But I feel like if, there's also a lot of benefit as an artist, as an actor, even as people with like a vocal condition, there is so much benefit to taking a break.
Definitely.
Have you found that it's like on both sides with the vocal condition? And I'm going to want to ask you too, like, have you found that it's been helpful with the vocal condition, taking a break a bit from stressful things, and then also like taking a break from, working that acting muscle of like stressing about, or not stressing, but like, I got this audition, and then I got to do this class, and all the things that we've got to do. Have you found it like helpful, like to take a break, or are you the type
Definitely
of constant?
No, I've been really happy to take a break. I've still been stressed because now I'm working full time, like nannying. I was doing part time before, like when I was auditioning and taking class and everything. So that's like a whole different kind of stress. But like before the pandemic happened, I was in acting class and going to auditions and stuff. And I feel like once I decided I was going to take a break and I stopped going to the classes and everything, like I felt like a huge weight was lifted off of me. Because I would get so nervous going to acting class and like just trying to be in the scene, and then my voice was going, and then people are looking at you and they're like, what's wrong with her?
Do you feel like once you do like the first class or once you do the first, like, for me, I know when I'm like, oh, I don't know these people. It's not that I don't care about being judged anymore, but it's so deep in my DNA of like protecting myself and not wanting to be judged from like
Mhm.
childhood, of having this since like I was 5 or 6 and being made fun of all those years. And so it's like in my DNA to be on the defense and get anxiety in those kinds of situations. But then I always find after like I do the first live stream or the first, you know, acting class, something that's
Mhm.
different. It's like I kind of open up a bit. Do you find that with yourself
Mhm.
too?
Yeah, I do.
That's good.
Um, and I found that like even talking about how I'm feeling about things lately has affected my voice. Like that's made it better after I've just like let go of a lot of stuff that I'm hanging on to. So,
Absolutely. I think that I also want this like platform to, it is hard for people, especially people with severe cases of this, to do something like this, to go on a live
mhm,
stream, to speak. And, I think that there is something about just, it's so cliche, but doing the things that scare you,
mhm.
especially even with a condition like this. I think it's a part of our brain that it's like a muscle. And I attribute
Yeah.
my mild case to years and years and years of doing things that normal people with like normally like with SD would terrify them, like auditions or going on a set or doing a comedy show or doing all kinds of things that are speaking related. I think it's like you're working a part of a brain that it becomes like it's like going to the gym. It's like increasing weights. It's like, oh,
Mhm.
it gets easier and easier, so let's do more and more difficult things. So like I think it's amazing that like, not that I know you like as an actress, you're not before SD, you wouldn't do it, wouldn't terrify you in the least bit to do like a live stream or anything like this.
Oh no.
But I know you as somebody with SD, going into this was probably like a little nerve wracking. And it always is for me too. Still, there's always like a little moment of like saying those first words and saying like,
Mhm.
all right, everybody, we're doing this. That I'm a little, and then I open up. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
But I think it's so important, like, especially with people with SD too, as much as it hurts and as much as it scares you to speak more, like,
Mhm.
I think it is the number one thing at the top of the list that will help you
Yeah.
speak at the drive-throughs, talk on the phone more,
Mhm.
whatever it may be. I think that like there's a part of our brain that obviously we don't know how it works, but I just know for me that's been, I think, the thing that's at the top of the list that's helped me. Um, and I think since we first met with you, like I see a lot of improvement in your voice. Like it's
Oh really?
great. Yeah, it really
Thanks.
is. Um, but like for you too, have you found the backtracking a little bit? Do you find like, have you found that this like slow down time? How have you felt like that it's helped you or
Like in acting.
acting?
Well,
Yeah,
at first,
or even just like mentally with other things you're dealing with.
yeah. What's crazy is because 3 weeks before lockdown, I just moved to California.
Just moved.
Literally 3 weeks before lockdown, so
Oh
I
my
was
god.
ready to go. I'm here in LA. I'm gonna go to the best studios. I'm just
Mhm.
ready. And then all of a sudden, it was like, oh, never mind, we're shutting down. And I think because I already had that drive and desire to get to work, I didn't pause because I did all of the open calls. I
Yeah,
did every single virtual
Mhm.
class available.
she did
So
so
I
much.
I kept myself busy because I didn't want to fall. I also know myself, and if I knew that if I stopped, I would have sink into that black hole of like, oh, my life sucks. I didn't want
Yeah.
to do that. I didn't want to go into depression. But then once all of the open calls, like everything got over, I got overwhelmed. And then as soon as I finished all of these open calls, I was like, all right, I'm done.
Yeah.
Done.
That's it.
And it was like for almost a month of back to back to back to back virtual classes, auditions.
Wow.
And then it got to a point where I was like, okay, I'm done. I don't want to know anything about
She was doing
acting.
so many.
That's
So
amazing.
I feel like it was in reverse. I feel like I got to work as soon as lockdown happened, and then right into mid lockdown, I was just like, okay, I'm exhausted. That's it. I'm definitely gonna take advantage and of this
Yeah.
Yeah,
situation.
I think. I mean, I think it's amazing how many like casting directors are like putting out opportunities for
Mm-hmm.
actors, and I think that you just have to go into each of them with the mindset of, do I want to do this right now? And that should be
Mhm.
in a quarantine and with everything going on in the world for the first foreseeable future. That should always be first, especially in
Mhm.
something like acting, because you go into something already not wanting to do it, it's going to show and you're going to be miserable. And every moment of this quarantine you should you should just not do anything that is going to make you miserable,
Mhm.
because I mean, I don't know, like personally, and I don't want to try to get too political. I think that we're heading towards another shutdown, unfortunately, or a shift in
Uh,
back in that direction. Maybe not full shutdown, but like, I just think we're too eager to open up.
We
And
opened up
I think so too.
it's
I know.
yeah, and I just think that like we're gonna shift back in that direction. But yeah, I mean, I just have found like, and I'm saying this because we have a lot of people watching that have SD, and we have a question that came in, and I'll pop up in just a second. But I think it's so beneficial. I'm kind of contradicting myself when I say this, but it is beneficial to slow down and take vocal breaks, because in our time with SD and being in the real world, like we don't get a lot of vocal breaks. But
Mhm.
also, there is, I think, a lot of benefit on the other side of the coin of talking more. And I think that, I just think that this is something that the world still doesn't know about, and when somebody, my whole life has always been, "Are you sick? Like, what's wrong?" And I would always say I'm sick. You know?
I have a
Yeah.
question in regards
Yeah.
to that. Like when you get that question, like are you sick or what's wrong with your voice? Like do you not ever want to say like I have a vocal condition? I'm
I.
gonna
kn-
stop doing that. Do you much rather make up a lie or just educate them right away?
Well, I'll let you answer it
Mm-hmm.
first.
Um, I don't know. Like I haven't gotten that question a lot, actually. I guess I just like haven't really been talking that much in public lately.
Mhm.
And I like just really got this. So like usually if I was having a bad voice day, I would just come in and I'd say, sorry, I'm sick, and just lie about it instead of like explaining all of it. Cause I was just tired of even thinking about it. And I don't know.
Yeah. For me, it's funny. Like when I was younger, it was the quick answer was I'm sick, and then
Mhm.
99% of people would just be like, "Oh, okay," and that would be
And
it. That'd be
yeah.
over, and that would kind of be like my life raft through that period of time.
Mhm.
So I don't have to explain it again for a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And then now it's funny because I genuinely don't care what people think, but like I said, I still deal with so much residual stuff from my childhood. The rare incident it does happen now when somebody questions it,
Mhm.
um, I do tend to immediately go to the sick thing, only because I regress a little bit and my voice gets a little worse in those situations.
Yeah.
And so it's physically harder for me to like, okay, I got to do all this explanation. And so I tend to just probably write it off as I'm sick. I also do judge it based on in that moment if this person is going to be in my life for a long period of time.
That's a good way to
If
put
That's
it's
it.
true.
like, and this is something I guess people can take. It's like it's up to you. Like if you're just out and somebody at the drive-through is like, "What's wrong? Are you sick?" Yeah,
Yeah.
cool. See you later. I'm
Me
never going to
too.
see that person again.
Mm-mm.
So you don't have to take the time and effort. You can if you want. I mean, do what you want. But for me, like if I meet somebody I know that I'm going to work with a bit and I'm
Uh,
friends with, I'll usually explain it. And it would always in the past be like an explanation that's like on the defense or an explanation that's fear based. But I think if we can get to a place with SD of an explanation that's grounded in confidence, like this is
Mm-hmm.
just what I have right now,
Right.
you
mhm.
know? Um,
Well, you're also educating.
Yeah, it's
And the
educating.
world doesn't
That's
know
true.
about this. Like I didn't know about SD until I met him, and that was almost 2 years ago. So I mean, I would much rather be educated about it and then be aware of it, and then because then that also will, I don't know. I just much rather be educated about it.
Yeah, and most people like that is the response. 99% of people that I tell and tell what I have are just like, "Oh wow, I never knew about that."
Mm-hmm.
Like I
Mhm.
do occasionally, like I've had incidents throughout my life of people that like it's always the same type of person. You could always tell that they're a very dark souled person, as I'd like to put it, but they really just it's like, and it's like I dealt with it even as recent as March before the quarantine. I was going into a comedy show. I had a really rough night from this, and this dude was like, "What the hell is wrong with your voice? You sound like
Mhm.
you're dying."
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, "Oh my god!" I regressed mentally. Like I
Mhm.
didn't show it externally, but mentally I regressed to like a teenager, and it ruined my whole comedy show because my voice was just like blah blah blah,
Just one.
and I
Yeah.
couldn't even explain to him, you know, I didn't want to explain to him because of the energy he was putting off. Like it was almost just like I don't feel like dealing with him
Mm-hmm.
anymore.
Yeah.
Um, but like
But
I,
in a situation like that,
uh huh.
because I remember he was, I mean, he was just kind of a tool, that
Well,
type
no,
of
I think that
person.
anybody that acts like that, anybody that puts
It's
out that kind of
insecure about
energy,
themselves.
they're just
Mhm.
covering up something that
Right, that's what I'm saying. And I was there when that happened, and I wanted to be like, listen, but that's just the Latina in me, and I just take my hoops off, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna educate you right now. But I honestly wish you would have said something because that could have also, I don't know, you would have
But
educated.
he kind of like he like it was the situation. He kind of like walked away
Yeah,
soon after.
everything
To
happened real
everything
quick, so
happened really
it was
quick. It
like,
was stupid.
okay, never
And in
mind.
the scheme of things in the world, not a big deal. I know none of
Mhm.
this right now is a big deal. This is just, again, if you're watching, and some people might be like, guys, the world's on fire, and you're just talking about your voice thing. But this is something we've dealt with, and this is just a platform for us to kind of vent and
Yeah.
have conversation.
So
And
basically, what I'm trying to say is like, don't be afraid to educate people.
yeah,
Yeah.
Like,
absolutely.
just have the courage and say, listen, I know it sounds funny to you, but it's actually this and this and that.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, and there will then be a shift in you,
Mm-hmm.
because it's
Mhm.
almost like, to me, I feel like we have these computers in our brain where we meet somebody, and then like once I have met somebody, and it's like I know they know what I have, and like they're not a threat to me, it's like,
Mhm.
oh, my voice is a lot calmer, and I open up, and it's like your brain does create like a Rolodex based on the people that you meet. Like there's literally a computer in our brain of like, okay, this person is this kind of way, and I tend to get a little more
Mhm.
defensive and
Yeah.
protective of that person. But
It's
every
so
person you
weird.
meet, like usually within the like minutes of meeting them, you create kind of like a way to deal with that person.
Mhm.
And I think that having something like this makes you a little more empathetic, and just nicer to people, like, because like you want people to be nice to you
We
too.
need empathy.
Yeah.
Yeah, the world definitely needs empathy.
Yes.
But I've rambled too much. Let's pop a question on the screen. And I will take it down so it doesn't cover us up in a second. Sherry Lynn on Facebook: dealing with stress, working with students during the pandemic, has totally impacted my voice. I tried Botox once, not sure it
Mhm.
helped. Weird thing for me is that when my voice is really bad, I can speak in my first language, but not in English.
That's so
That's
That's
interesting.
really
trippy.
interesting.
Because you said you sing too, right? And you
Mhm.
don't have, like, when you sing, it's not.
No, like sometimes there's like a little spasm, but for the most part, like it's totally normal. But when I did the Botox, then I couldn't sing. So that's why I didn't want to do the
Oh
Botox.
yeah.
That's
Don't
fair.
then definitely
Yeah.
don't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I that's kind of why I like comedy found me, because at a young age that I learned that I could do funny voices in different pitches completely perfect.
Mhm.
And so that was a way for me to like, oh, I could do a funny voice and distract the people from my actual voice. And
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
it's way easier for me to go on stage and do like a character
Yeah.
than it is for me to like sit and just be in an
Yeah.
interview, you
Mm-hmm.
know? to talk as me. It's way easier. But
it's
that's
still-
crazy
Oh, look,
about
I'm also singing Norwegian, but not
she
in
popped
English.
up something else. Sherry on Facebook.
Wow.
In Norwegian, but that's trippy.
So
Have you heard
weird.
stories though about people that can with SD that their spouses have heard them talk in their sleep perfectly?
I have.
That's what's crazy.
That's so weird.
It's so mental and it's so frustrating that they can't
I
just
know.
give me a pill. Just give me a pill.
That's how I feel too. Like I'm having some good voice days, so isn't there something that like can't they just
The
figure
thing
it out?
is, and they just haven't found it yet. But I truly believe, you know, within the next 10 to 20 years, hopefully sooner, that we'll have a pill, we'll have something that will help us. You know, they're already kind of like, excuse me, they're already narrowing it in the direction of a pill, I believe, that kind of has the same effect as alcohol, but not making you drunk. I think they're testing some things. Something eventually will help. You know, the hardest part of this is everybody's case is different. You know, everybody's SD is different. So it's like,
But I'm shocked about Sherry Lynn here saying
it's
that.
tricky.
It's like you can speak your first language normally, but in English it's a struggle, and then that's fascinating. I don't know.
Yeah,
Weird.
it is. I mean,
Yeah.
but that just further proves that it's everything in the brain.
Yeah.
You know, it's nothing, in my opinion, that is motor related. That's why, like, I do feel like speech therapy can help, but I feel like it can't fully help people with SD. I don't know. I'm probably going to get people being like, you know, it has helped me. But it's, to me, it's such a mental thing. You know, it's not a mental thing, but it's in our brain, and you know, that's why I'm excited to dive back into like Jim Bostock's program, which that is what and this isn't a plug for him, but I've worked with him, and he's an amazing dude. That's his approach, is like a brain based approach, which is really, really cool, and the direction I think people should be working. But yeah, you spoke about like doing like acupuncture and like things like that. Like what have you found like has brought the most relief for you?
I think the acupuncture is actually really helpful. Like the first time I did it, I feel like I for the first time like felt like my body was fully relaxed, like ever. So I was like, okay, this is something, because obviously when I'm feeling more relaxed and less stressed, then my voice is a lot better. So I'm hopeful with that. I'm going to try going every week and see how it goes. And I've been taking the GABA every day for like 2 weeks, and I think it's been helping. Like I'm still not really sure, but I just have been taking it, and I think
the best
it's
advice
good.
I could give you is like just keep taking things, because I know in the past when I don't see quick results, I've given up on things, and I know with like acupuncture, like I think it's something that it's expensive. It can be really expensive, but it does take, you know, just keeping going. You know, that's something I'm really excited to get back into when, you know, when all this gets back to normal. Do you live with people?
I have one roommate, and she has fibromyalgia.
Oh wow!
Yeah, she was diagnosed last year.
We got a question actually that is connecting to the acupuncture.
I actually had the same.
Dale Hamilton, do they put the needles in your neck for acupuncture? Actually, no. So different parts of your body connect to different things. So I believe well, I don't know what the approach is your acupuncturist is taking. I've been to like at least 3 or 4 different acupuncturists who try different things, but like I've had people put them in the tops of my feet, put them in my hands. You know, it's never like, oh, my nose hurts, so put a thing in my nose. No, there's like there's nerve endings that connect to different parts of your body. It's really fascinating. Like, where are they like focusing on your acupuncture approach?
It was like everywhere. Like I had them on my feet. I had one on my head. One on like on my forehead. So they were everywhere.
I'll never forget one time. I mean, the head ones are always a little trippy. Nothing hurts. Nothing is ever really hurt. But there was one time like my acupuncturist forgot to take one of the needles out in my head, and I left, and like I mean, I don't know, I touched my hair or something, and I was like, oh my god, this is still in my head.
Oh
And I don't
no!
know if I should have, but I yanked it out. but I should have probably gone back and had a professional do it. But I'm
I'm
still
sure it's
here.
fine.
But so Connie Pike, what's up, Connie? Connie Pike on Facebook. There is a protocol where the needles are put in the neck, but other places as well. This is a published study. Oh, gotcha. So I mean, like I said, there's like many different attack.
Every acupuncturist
has
a different method.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
well. Every one of them like are like they. I mean, they should have gone to school to learn about this, but like
Mhm.
there is, I've had people like, okay, I'm gonna do this part of your body today to try this. I'm gonna do like this today to like affect this. Like every
Mhm.
part of your body, like when a needle is put in it, like literally you see that if you go to an acupuncturist, you'll see charts and it's like, oh, this little part of your hand, they put one right there and it does something and it's trippy. And I'll tell you this, the first time I ever went to an acupuncture, I did notice an extreme change in my voice. But the thing that blew my mind is, this isn't even what I went for, but I told her at like towards the end, I was like, yeah, I've dealt with this like knee pain for years. I used to be a professional wrestler, so that is why. But
Mhm.
I've dealt with this knee pain for years, and I've seen it. I've gone to the doctor. I've like had them look at it, and nothing would fix it. And she's like, okay, let me see. Boom, 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 and fixed it immediately.
No
And
way.
no doctor could figure out
Seriously?
what was wrong or what I needed to do. And like I was early 20s, and I didn't want to get surgery to get in there.
Yeah.
That should be the last resort. But literally fixed it. I've heard crazy stories. Of people that couldn't walk after car accidents and were able to walk after acupuncture. And I've had
Wow.
friends that used to deal with migraines that never get them anymore. I mean,
Mm.
acupuncture is amazing and definitely something that I recommend.
Mhm.
Have you ever done it? No.
You
I
should
mean,
do it. I find it so relaxing.
yeah,
Like,
that's the
it's so
best part of
nice.
it. It is one, you're forced to lay there for an hour
Yeah.
interrupted, which is awesome. And then on top of it, it's just super relaxing, and then can help with so many things that
Mhm.
you deal with. But the next question I have, we'll probably go like another 10 minutes here, but so you live with like, what is it? How did your roommates deal with like the first time when you like was this thing like, it's always just really interesting living or somebody living with somebody with it, like
Mhm.
what have they found, like what has it been like for you?
It's been great because my roommate is an actor too, and and a
Oh,
singer.
good.
She does like musical theater and acting. So she said she
Okay.
actually like had vocal issues. So when I first was like, I don't know what's wrong with my voice, she was like, oh, like you can use all these resources and maybe it's nodes she had something wrong with her actual vocal cord that was preventing her from singing. So she had to have like vocal surgery
Mm.
and like be like go on vocal rest for like a few months and everything. So when I was trying to figure it out, she was really supportive. And when I found out what it was, she still was really supportive because she has fibromyalgia, and that's like a whole other like invisible illness that people like would judge her for and like not understand what it was. So that's been really helpful just to have someone to talk to, like who gets it. And hers is triggered by stress too.
Mm.
So we have that in common.
Yeah, stress
Yeah.
is, it affects everybody.
differently.
Everybody.
Mhm. Yeah.
Really?
I have an appetite, and
I wish that was the case for
I
me,
and I'm like, yes.
because I'm the opposite. Because I'm sad. No.
Yeah.
What for you? has it? What if for you has it been like, no, somebody that has this thing
With you? I mean,
with me? Yeah.
living with you, it's like a rom-com every day.
Oh, stop
it's
it.
like,
Aw.
Not even.
I mean, jokes aside, no, I mean, our life is pretty normal. I mean, sometimes the one thing that annoys the hell out of him is like when I'm what?
Mhm.
What'd you say?
Yeah, only because like sometimes when it's difficult. Well, she's deaf.
I'm
But
That's one thing.
when, you know, it's hard when I'm not having a good vocal. When I'm having a good vocal day, like today I'm having a really good one, and obviously I want to talk. But when I'm not, I don't. And so when I speak, anytime I say anything, it's work. And then so to have
Mhm.
to repeat myself,
Right.
it's like, God dang it,
And
you
that's
know?
something that
I
I
feel that way too.
kind of learn and understand throughout, the months, especially when we moved in together. It didn't dawn on me, like when I'm asking, like, what'd you say? Or
Mhm.
if I ask you a question, if I even ask you, like, hey, are you okay?
Mm.
Whenever you're like feeling low and just kind of like to yourself, I'm thinking over here, like, oh my God, what did I do? Does he not love me? No, it's not that. It's
Mm.
just that he needs his time to
Mhm.
decompress, or he's not feeling, it's not a good vocal day. So for me, it was a matter of understanding and recognizing that, and it's not about me. This is
Mhm.
It's not. I don't ever want it to be a big thing, you know. 'Cause I always
and you don't
preface
make
anytime I, tell somebody I have this, that one, it's a very mild case. I'm very fortunate at this point to have gotten this far with it, because people are suffering,
Mhm.
with it. But also, like, I could have something worse. I could be stricken with something far worse. And, so I always preface it with that. So it's like, it's never from a place of like, I'm, feel bad for me, but it's always just like, it is hard for me to sometimes have to repeat myself. And then
Mhm.
there are a lot of times, I'm sure you can relate, where I just don't want to talk. And like, it's not that I'm upset. It's just that it just feels better to like not
Yeah,
have. So I think that that's also
definitely.
for us too, is like, just, have, whoever you're living with. And most people have already gotten there that, have this, but make sure whoever you're living with just like understands, that,
Mhm.
you know, I might just want to text instead of
that's
call,
one
or
thing
Yeah.
too. Sorry, didn't mean to
no, you're
interrupt.
fine.
But when we started, dating, and we would go out for dinner, and I would, call a restaurant and make reservations, I was always the one making the call to make the reservation, and I'm already like nervous about my accent and my English, and
Mm.
so I was like, why don't you call? And then he explained to me, and I was like, oh,
It's just
okay, that
Yeah.
makes
it's
sense.
just
Got
easier
it.
sometimes, because like phone calls, like things like that. I mean, it's getting easier for me, but like it it was it's just hard to say certain things. And
Mhm.
I
then
make the
it's just
reservation.
hard.
Yeah.
It's just hard for people to understand it. So it becomes a more difficult
We have a
thing.
question.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we got another question. Sherry again. How have you coped with wearing a mask on a bad voice day? That's
Yeah,
a whole thing. I haven't dealt with that situation yet, unfortunately,
we've
or
been quarantining.
fortunately, I should say.
Mhm.
Yeah, we've been like heavy duty quarantine. Have you dealt with any situations of like people not being able to, like, on top of, what you're dealing with, being able to hear you or anything?
Um, like a couple of times, but usually I can kind of get in and out of the store like without really saying anything. Like, I'll just be like, "Hi," and then they bring up my groceries. I'm like, "Thank you," then I
Mhm.
just leave. So
Yeah,
yeah, it hasn't been a huge issue actually.
for sure. Yeah, I just had some pop in my head. Like, I mean, there are some. I think sometimes I feel like really like antisocial, and I think that mask wearing a mask is like kind of like awesome in the sense that like I got a mask on, I don't got to talk to anybody.
Exactly.
I don't
Just
gotta
like
like
keep your
smile.
head down. Like, yeah,
You don't know what my face is like under this. So I think people with SD is like take advantage of like not having to like, oh hey, how are you? Oh hey, like
yeah.
just like
I see.
just
Yeah, that's so
take
true.
advantage of it. But yeah, thank you so much for doing this. I think that, like, again, doing things like this with anybody with SD is like such a good thing to do. One, to tell your story with it, and
Mm-mm.
you're somebody young with it, And I guess the last question I have is, yeah, I'll jump in a second. The last question I have is, w- how do you feel like having, which is a whole thing we could jump into, but how do you feel like having SD as a younger person differs from having it as an older person?
Um, I think it caused more stress for me than I think if I had been older and like had a steady job and like a house and a family with me. I think like that would have been a lot easier, and like being financially stable, hopefully, like if I was older. But since I'm like just starting out, like in my early 20s, I think I feel more overwhelmed and like, what am I going to do? Like, do I start a new path? Like, that's how I felt when I was diagnosed. Like, do I just completely start over, even though I like just graduated, or like, what am I supposed to do? So I think for people that get it young, it's like, okay, I need a different outlook on my life because it's like just starting.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I feel like maybe if someone older had it, they kind of just have to shift their life to adjust. But
that's what I've kind of heard from the few. I mean, I don't think it's very common for younger people to get it. But that's kind of the common thing I'm hearing from younger people that have gotten it is, it's just, I think, a little more frustrating because we haven't gotten to live as long of a life with a good voice, like versus people that, anybody that gets it, don't get me wrong, it's, difficult and frustrating, and everybody deals with the same frustrations that has SD. But I think when you get it younger, I know for me, I I constantly am just like, man, I wish I wouldn't have had to deal with all these years of the difficulties I've had. And I can't wait for the day that it comes where it's just consistently perfect. I oftentimes I'm like, I wish I knew what it felt like, because I can't remember a time in my life that it wasn't, because it's like, that's the earliest memories I have, I don't have memories of like a perfect voice. And so I think that's the thing that's different is people that get it in their 50s and 60s, they were able to live a pretty long life with a good voice. And, so it's just another path with it, yeah, and I think that one, going back to what you said, don't ever think that you ever have to give up what you're doing. I am a testament that like I've had this since I was like 5 or 6. I don't remember. I always say 5 or 6 because I don't really remember. I think it was 5. But I got it so young, and all I've ever wanted to do was be an actor. And while it has, been probably harder for me to, become an actor or do certain things that are easier for other actors, I still have been able to book things. I still have been able to like pursue this thing. And, I'm really wanting to be like an advocate, but also like to let people know like, hey, this isn't a disease. It's not like something that, when you get it, we can't talk anymore. It's just that this is now how I talk, and I want it to, there are actors with lisps, there are actors with all kinds of vocal conditions. And I want to be an advocate and like really push hard to make this a more acceptable thing, because while there's a small number of us out there that have this and want to be actors, maybe under 10 people, honestly,
probably.
but we still should be able to have those opportunities. So like, don't think for a second that like, just because your tool is a little dented that it still can't play a tune, because it can, and you're still gonna thrive. You're still gonna do great stuff. So
Thanks.
yeah, hell yeah. And we're glad that we met you, and let's keep in touch. So if we make Cookie, we have an absolute option of somebody with the condition that we can bring in for auditions.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Would you like to promote anything here?
Promote anything? You can go to my Instagram. It's just my name, Aenya Ulke.
I think I
haven't posted anything recently, but if you want to follow me, yeah.
I think I have in the description. So yeah, everybody go follow her on Instagram. But yeah, again, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
All right, we'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Okay, bye.
Let's see here. So yeah, that was awesome. Thank you guys so much for watching. Before we wrap up here, we did have a couple more questions on Facebook. Let's see. Was this something we already addressed? No. Angie on Facebook. I've been saying to clerks, I'm not sick. It's a voice disorder, but they still have trouble hearing me with my mask on. I mean, yeah, that's the truth of it is you're going to deal with all kinds of different situations of people that are understanding, can't hear you, but just somebody with like a clerk like that, it's like, cool, you're never probably going to deal with that person again. So just kind of chalk it up to like, oh, this was just a quick interaction, that I'll never have to deal with again. But I just, always try to tell people like, live in your confidence and things will start getting better. The more we put up like a defense for a fear of being, because really, what's the worst that could happen? We're not going to, people are dying right now, from disease and all kinds of other things. People are dying. When we, are in situations where we're afraid of getting made fun of, like that's the worst that could happen with this. We're not going to die from it. So if once we can start working on that fear and getting to a place of like, yeah, this is what I have right now, I think it will start getting better and talking more to people and, working that muscle. Angela on Facebook, thanks for doing this live. You are welcome, Angela. Thanks for watching us. Angie, wishing you all the best. Anya, and you are absolutely beautiful. She was a great guest.
You are beautiful.
Oh, thanks. Oh, I think she was talking to Anya.
I know.
I know. But yeah, it's a crazy time, guys, in this world. And again, I wanted to state, doing this I'm in no way, shape, or form saying like, oh my God, woe is me, I have such a bad life. I'm very fortunate that I have a mild case of this condition. And I could have something a lot worse right now. But there's a lot of craziness happening in the world, and I'm not doing this in any way to like take attention away from that. It's just to be, that stuff is now incorporated into my everyday. But, I did want to get back to this because it is so important. It's a passion of mine to raise awareness for spasmodic dysphonia. So I did want to get back to doing this, and I want to try to do it weekly. And because it's been like a month, and I don't know, I liked having you on here. It's fun.
I like it too. Hell yeah.
It was fun. It was fun. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm gonna start putting all these past episodes on the website, sdsidekick.com. I think I have a banner for that. No, I don't. But sdsidekick.com is the website. And again, I've said in the past that like it is a work in progress. Like I know that it is going to evolve into something different. I already have some loose ideas of what I want to turn it into soon, but for right now, it's just like a resource. It's a place that people with SD, mainly people new to SD, can go to. That is a list of resources. I know when I got SD, I didn't know where to go. Now there are all kinds of different places, Facebook groups, websites, all kinds of different places. And what's hard about that is there's so many different places with so many different kinds of really good information all over the internet. I'm trying to make one place that's like a catalog of every vitamin that people have suggested that you can try, or acupuncture, or a laundry list of just things that we can try, because we have this thing that there's no cure for yet. So we just have to stay proactive on, trying to see things that work. And I tell you what, like if something works, just keep doing it. If acupuncture works for you, keep doing it. But again, the website is sdsidekick.com. Again, these replays will be on the website. So if you want to rewatch these conversations that I have, I always want to bring on people either with SD to be able to tell their story and kind of conquer a little bit of a fear of like public speaking or whatever it may be. But also I want to bring on people that are doing things to help people with SD, or people, it might even go as far as, people that live with people with SD that talk about that experience, that's why I want to have you on more, because you're like living with somebody with the condition and you can kind of give a different perspective. And but
You're so good at this.
I've done live streams for 12 years, but I'll probably get off of this and dang it, I should have said that. No. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll definitely be back next week. Hopefully with another awesome guest, and we'll see you next time. Do you want to say anything or promote anything?
No.
GabbyOrtiz.com is her website. Go look at pretty pictures of her. All right. Bye guys.
Stay safe.